My parents kicked me out on my 18th birthday. But karma delivered at her wedding today. I'm sharing an unbelievable story of family betrayal and spectacular karma. My name is Deborah, and my parents, Michael 65 and Karen 63, publicly called me their midlife mistake. Dad was a middle manager who never challenged Mom, a career-obsessed corporate powerhouse. Then there's my sister, Jennifer, 32, 14 years my senior, who never gave a damn about me. I was an unexpected surprise. Mom, at 45, initially thought her pregnancy was menopause. By the time she saw a doctor, it was too late. My arrival wasn't a loving choice. From overheard conversations, I was born prematurely with health issues, spending more time in the hospital than at home. Mom was always too busy with meetings. Dad and my Aunt Rachel took turns caring for me. Aunt Rachel was my guardian angel, whispering encouragement through my incubator. "You're going to be just fine, little one. You're stronger than you know." I still hold on to those words. When I finally came home, my Grandpa George stepped in. He bought a new 5-bedroom mansion in Boston, feeling our original home wasn't enough for 2 kids. But wealth couldn't fill the emotional void. Growing up there felt like living in a museum with immaculate white carpets and high-end furnishings. I knew I wasn't part of the display, just an unwanted artifact. I still remember my "take your child to work day at 5. My classmates were thrilled, but Mom gave me a look that made me feel foolish. "Don't be ridiculous, Deborah," she snapped. "I have important meetings all day. You'd just be in the way. Besides, the office isn't for children." Instead, I spent the day with Aunt Rachel at her cozy painting studio. She let me paint, displayed my creations, and made me feel important. School became my haven. To avoid going home, I buried myself in studies and joined every club. My teachers praised me as a quiet, well-behaved child, unaware I was terrified of being a burden. Even during college holiday visits, Jennifer showed no interest, only complaining that her old room was now my messy kid space. Grandpa George tried to compensate for my parents' neglect. Every few months, Dad would visit from Canada, bring in thoughtful gifts like art supplies and books, showing a genuine interest my parents lacked. But his presence wasn't enough to fix our family's deep dysfunction. Mom's parenting style was simple: throw money at problems. Dance lessons? Yes. Private tutoring? Sure. Attend my performances or parent-teacher conferences? Sorry, important meeting. Can't reschedule. Every accomplishment was met with an apathetic, "That's nice, dear." Dad wasn't much better. Not. "Now, Deborah, I'm on a call." His promise to Mom that he'd help with me if she kept me was a sham. He was never too tired or busy for himself. One weekend, I counted 17 instances of him saying, "Not now, Deborah." My 10th birthday, naturally, Mom and Dad forgot. When Aunt Rachel reminded them, they hastily ordered an expensive cake and threw money at me. Jennifer didn't even call. The real celebration happened the next day at Rachel's, a small gathering with homemade cake and decorations she knew I'd adore. As I grew, I pieced together the truth from drunken confessions and whispered arguments. At 12, I overheard Mom, likely on her 3rd glass of wine, say she's just so demanding, always needing something, always wanting attention. I did not sign up for this. Dad retorted, "How do you want me to handle this? We can't really give her back." After that, Aunt Rachel's modest, comfortable home became my real home. She listened, helped with homework, taught me to cook all the things parents are supposed to do. On weekends, we did creative projects, baked cookies, or just talked about life. She asked about my aspirations, anxieties, and future things my parents never bothered with. The gap between my life at home and with Rachel widened. At Rachel's, I was Debbie loved, respected, heard. At my parents, I was Deborah the misfit, the trouble, the unwelcome one. I learned to exist in these parallel universes, flipping between them like a TV channel. Grandpa George noticed. He started making direct deposits into a private account for me, saying with a knowing look, "Just in case." The world can be unpredictable. I didn't realize how prophetic those words would be. Update 1. My 18th Birthday betrayal. Life throws curveballs when you least expect them. I was 18, counting down days to college, barely surviving the emotional wasteland of my home. Then my parents dropped a bombshell. Deborah, Mom chirped. We have amazing news. Jennifer is pregnant and getting married. Dad, beaming, added, we're going to be grandparents. I forced a smile. That's fantastic. They went on about wedding preparations, oblivious to my lack of enthusiasm. Their eyes darted to my bedroom, the door, and suddenly it clicked. Jennifer and her husband will need space for the baby when they move in with us after the wedding. The measuring tape I'd seen, the whispered discussions, their sudden interest in my college plans at all, made sense. They were preparing for my departure and Jennifer's return. I knew the coming weeks would be a game changer. I just didn't know how drastically, or how karma would soon make a grand entrance. On my 18th birthday, Aunt Rachel made her usual birthday pancakes and gave me thoughtful gifts, books, art supplies, and a beautiful handmade photo album of our time together. The real surprise was Grandpa George. He'd sent me the newest smartphone with a note. Keep it handy and document anything important. He also asked me to join a live video call when I got home for the celebration. I was unknowingly about to document the proof that would change everything. I started the live video with Grandpa at noon and headed home, chatting with Aunt Rachel about my morning. Something felt off when I opened the front door. An odd scent of fresh paint hung in the air, and the house was eerily quiet. My pulse quickened as I went upstairs. My door, which I always left open, was closed. I almost dropped my phone in horror. When I turned the handle, my room was gone. The walls, once covered in my photos and art, were freshly painted a gentle blue. An ornate white crib replaced my bed. Teddy bears were everywhere. A rocking chair sat where my desk had been fitting. The nautical theme, even the curtains were new. Footsteps behind me. My parents emerged from their bedroom, shocked to find me filming. Deborah, Mom said sternly, why are you here? And why are you taping? I was still processing the erasure of my existence. My room. What happened? Where are my belongings? Dad nervously cleared his throat. You see, Deborah, we've decided to give your sister's child this room. It has the most natural light. It's ideal for a nursery. And our first grandson deserves the best. He beamed with a passion I'd never seen directed at me. Mom interjected, Jennifer's expecting a boy, the son your father has always desired. It felt like a punch to the gut. But where should I sleep? Where are my belongings? Dad waved dismissively toward the stairs. Oh, we packed up your stuff. The garage is where the boxes are. When you depart, you ought to bring them along. Go. My voice broke. Leave? What do you mean? I call this place home. Mom's fake grin wavered. Deborah, you must comprehend, dear. There just isn't room for you here anymore, especially with Jennifer and her husband moving in and the baby on the way. Furthermore, you should learn how to support yourself now that you are 18. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No, I murmured, my voice shaking. No, I won't go. I also call this place home. You can't just ignore me like I don't exist. Mom finally lost her temper. For heaven's sake, Deborah, avoid being tough. This is about family, not about you. I am a member of your family. Tears streamed down my face. I am your daughter. My birthday is today, and you're throwing me out. Did you not even realize it was my birthday? Dad rolled his eyes. Is it your birthday? Is it the purpose of this outburst? We have no time for such nonsense. Their indifference struck me like a physical blow. Mom looked anxiously at my phone, still filming. Stop causing a commotion, she growled. The neighbors will listen. Well done, I fired back. Give them permission. Make it clear to everyone. Your true character. Dad's fingers dug cruelly into my arm. That's enough, he snarled, pulling me toward the stairs. Leave right away and don't return. After a rough shove, I was on the front porch with my hastily packed boxes. The door slammed behind me with a finality that reverberated in my bones. I don't know how long I sat there crying, but Grandpa George's voice finally broke through. Are you there, Deborah, my love? I witnessed everything. Don't worry, we'll resolve this. For now, go to Rachel's, shall we? Be careful with the video. Rachel, having watched the entire event via Grandpa's shared live broadcast, was already waiting at her door. As she drew me into a strong embrace, I felt secure for the first time that day. Rachel insisted we celebrate my birthday. She ordered my favorite meal, invited some of my closest friends, and made every effort to make the day memorable. We all understood, however, that this was more than just a botched birthday celebration. It was about my entire existence being completely upended. That night, lying in Rachel's guest room, which she immediately started calling my room, Grandpa George sent me an email. He had a strategy. His lawyer had saved and certified the live stream footage. He wrote, "The wedding is in 3 days. Be prepared. Karma occasionally requires a little assistance to get going." I didn't realize how correct he was or how spectacularly karma was about to hit. Update 2. Karma's strike at Jennifer's wedding. Aunt Rachel insisted we go to Jennifer's wedding, even though we weren't invited. She helped me into a gorgeous blue dress she'd bought, remarking, "We have every right to be there." Besides, Grandpa George specifically invited us. As soon as we walked into the reception area, I saw Grandpa. He was sitting at a table close to the front, looking sharp in his pricey suit. I felt uneasy, as his exact plans were kept secret from me, wanting to be prepared for some justice. The ceremony itself was picture perfect. Jennifer looked stunning in her expensive gown, and her new husband seemed kind, if a little overwhelmed by the extravagance. Throughout the ceremony, Mom and Dad looked like the ideal family they had always envisioned, beaming with delight. During the reception, I observed my parents working the room from a corner table, boasting about their expecting grandson and pregnant daughter. They presumably hoped we wouldn't cause a commotion by deliberately placing us at the farthest table. If only they were aware of the impending danger. Grandpa George abruptly rose up during the celebratory supper as the congratulatory remarks got underway. The astonished best man handed over the microphone as he marched to the front of the room. There was silence. He opened with the serene authority that only comes with age and wealth. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to disturb this happy occasion. There is a serious injustice that must be addressed. I have never seen a takedown as deliciously vicious as the one that followed." Grandpa meticulously described every aspect, from my parents' early denial of my existence to their recent eviction on my birthday. On the projection screen, he presented selected segments from the live feed, allowing everyone to see their true colors in high definition. He roared, "These people threw their own daughter out like garbage on her 18th birthday to make room for their new grandson. Keep an eye on this." The film showed Dad's physical aggressiveness and Mom's contemptuous cruelty. The guests' faces shifted from bewilderment to surprise to indignation. A few of Mom's best friends stood up and left. Jennifer's mascara trickled down her cheeks, making her new spouse appear more uneasy. Grandpa wasn't done. When Mom, her face flushed, tried to intervene, his voice was as frigid as ice when he turned to face my parents. "Let me state this unequivocally. I am altering my will. I will give Rachel and Deborah every money I have. Jennifer, Karen, and Michael, you're all totally disconnected. The investment accounts, the trust money, it's everything gone." The outcome was instantaneous chaos. Mom cried out in a choked voice. Jennifer wept about the future of her unborn child as Dad's face became a frightening shade of purple. The biggest surprise, though, was when a number of Dad's business associates got up and walked away, pressing their business cards into Grandpa's hand as they went. My parents were unaware, or had conveniently forgotten, that Grandpa was not only rich, but also a significant investor in a number of businesses, including the one where Dad worked, and many of Mom's most important clients. Grandpa had a significant impact on both their business and social networks. Mom's well-cultivated social circle started apologizing and departing. Suddenly, Dad's coworkers were unable to look him in the eye. Jennifer's in-laws appeared to be having a heated argument while gathered in a corner. The last straw was when Jennifer's new husband got up and declared he needed some air. He still hasn't returned. He is reportedly speaking with divorce attorneys because he doesn't want to be associated with a family that has such a well-publicized problem. The best thing, though, is this. Do you recall the business cards that people were giving to Grandpa? As it happens, a number of Dad's colleagues had been searching for fresh investment prospects. By the end of the evening, Mom's clientele was beginning to appear extremely slender, and Dad's business had lost 3 significant investors. Grandpa smiled at me contentedly as we walked out of the celebration. Letting people ruin themselves is sometimes the best kind of retaliation, my love. All I did was make sure their audience was appropriate. Since then, my parents have been bombarding my phone with frantic messages about understanding, forgiveness, and family. They even attempted to break into Rachel's house yesterday. When they arrived, I made the decision that enough was enough. After glancing at Rachel, I made the choice that would alter everything. "I want you to be my legal guardian," I replied. Our lawyer claimed it was almost a slam dunk with the video proof we had. And the paperwork was already underway. The reputation of Mom and Dad was in ruins. Their financial future appeared bleak, and they had been abandoned by their social group. Jennifer was residing with our parents. Her idyllic life was falling apart around her, and she was being shut out by her husband's family. As they say, karma is a wonderful thing. Tomorrow, I'm going to file for a restraining order. It should be an easy win because of the video proof of Dad's physical assault and their emotional abuse. If we wish to pursue a civil complaint, our attorney thinks we have sufficient funds for one as well. Grandpa George wasn't joking when he said that karma needed a little assistance occasionally. But it was worth every tear I ever shed because of my parents to see their meticulously maintained facade fall apart. Update 3. The aftermath effect has been utterly devastating. Karma did more than simply strike back. It composed a symphony of justice that would make any fan of vengeance cry with delight. Let's begin with the court case. Only 2 weeks after the disastrous wedding, the court hearing for Rachel's guardianship and my restraining order was set. My parents appeared in their most favored role, loving, worried parents who only wanted their daughter back. They'd even engaged a public relations consultant to assist them in developing their image, giving them advice on how to come out as contrite. The sight in the courtroom was unreal. In contrast to her typical power suits, Mom dressed in her best concerned mother attire, complete with natural makeup and modest jewelry. In fact, Dad had a new haircut, and of all things, a Bible with him. They had even brought in character witnesses, mainly well-off friends, who were prepared to attest to their commitment as parents. They weren't ready for what we had, though. In addition to the birthday video, our lawyer provided years' worth of financial documents that demonstrated how they had misappropriated the assistance funds that Grandpa had been sending for my upbringing. As it turned out, they had been transferring the majority of it, more than $200,000, to their personal investment accounts and Jennifer's trust fund. I will never forget the judge's expression as the footage was being played. She even halted the proceedings to inquire if I wanted to file criminal charges when it reached the point when Dad physically pulled me out. I refused. It was enough torture to watch their world fall apart. She was adamant, nonetheless, about sending the case to the district attorney's office for examination. For my parents, the judge's decision was terrible. In addition to Rachel being given full guardianship, they were mandated to reimburse her for all of the money that had been embezzled from her support, plus interest. They must keep at least 500 feet away from Rachel and myself, according to the restraining order that was granted. However, that was only the start of their demise. Do you recall the wedding's business contacts? They were rushing, not simply walking away. After a number of investors left, Dad's company carried out an internal audit, which revealed several dubious choices he had made. He was relegated to a role with little actual authority or client contact, but he wasn't dismissed outright. Interns now share a cubicle with the man who once held the corner office. Even more spectacularly, Mom's career collapsed. Her once advantageous reputation as a brutal businesswoman was now viewed differently. Clients canceled contracts, citing ethical concerns, when the video of her ruthlessly evicting her own daughter went viral in local business circles. She now reports to someone who was once her junior associate. After her corner office was moved to a cubicle 3 floors down, the social repercussions were just as disastrous. Following a particularly contentious board meeting where the video was aired, their membership in the country club was canceled. To get away from them, old friends crossed the street. Their names inexplicably disappeared off the donor wall when their church requested that they take a break from committee work. In little than a month, the meticulously crafted social standing they had spent decades cultivating fell apart. Things haven't gotten much better for Jennifer. 2 weeks after the wedding, her husband filed for divorce, citing fraudulent misrepresentation of family character. She continues to live with our parents, using department store maternity clothes in place of her fashionable pregnancy outfit. My former room, the nursery they so brutally evicted me for, is now empty and underused. While her ideal suburban dream has degraded into sharing her old adolescent bedroom with her expectant child, the impact on finances has been enormous. Grandpa George wasn't threatening the will in a meaningless way. He essentially moved the majority of his assets out of my parents' grasp by having his attorneys create an irrevocable trust for Rachel and me. They have now received eviction papers from the house they reside in, which is officially held by one of Grandpa's businesses. While the investigation into the stolen support monies is ongoing, their investment portfolio has been placed on hold. They made every effort to turn things around, including offering treatment, making heartfelt apologies, and even trying to buy off Rachel's neighbors to spy on us. They sent their lawyer to negotiate last week, seemingly ready to forgive me if I could persuade Grandpa to restore their inheritance. It was almost impressive how bold they were. For my part, things have taken a surprisingly positive turn. Rachel and I share a home, now officially my permanent residence. We've painted my room in my favorite colors, hung my artwork, and made it genuinely mine, so it's no longer just a guest room. Rachel even assisted me in creating a fairy light-equipped reading nook near the window. I feel like I have a true home for the first time in my life. Grandpa George established a substantial college fund, and I've received acceptance offers for the next autumn semester from multiple universities. I'm going to study psychology with a focus on family trauma therapy because, well, I might as well apply my life experience. I've already begun assisting other teenagers from toxic homes deal with their circumstances by working at a nearby youth shelter. The amount of support I've received has been tremendous. It seems that many people in similar circumstances found resonance in my narrative. I've started a blog to chronicle my healing process, join support groups, and gain new friends that can relate to what I've been through. The texts I get every day from people going through similar things give me hope that all of this suffering can lead to something positive. Yesterday, my parents' most recent attempt to get in touch was a formal letter from their lawyer, threatening to sue me for defamation if I don't take back my false accusations. Our lawyer actually chuckled when he read it, but he also reminded them that we have everything on video and that the truth is an absolute defense against defamation. As I reflect on the last 3 months, I've come to the essential realization that sometimes the family you were born into isn't the one you were intended to be with. I learned what unconditional, encouraging, and respectful family love looks like from Rachel and Grandpa George. They have only ever asked for my pleasure and well-being in exchange. To everyone who helped me along the way, you have no idea how much your messages, counsel, and experiences have aided me. The Reddit community turned out to be a surprising wellspring of knowledge and courage. You showed me that standing up for myself wasn't selfish, and that I wasn't wrong to ask my parents to have basic human decency. There is hope for people who are still stuck in unhealthy familial environments. Create a support system, keep track of everything, and never forget that you deserve better. Being related by blood does not give someone the right to mistreat you. Those who don't love you well don't define your value. I've legally changed my identity. I have a real home. I can finally control my future when I start college in the fall. Karma rolls hard, but occasionally it needs a little prodding. I'm sure my folks are reading this, so I hope it was worthwhile. You lost the daughter you never cared to adore, as well as everything else, because of your ideal family image. Reddit, I appreciate you sharing in my path to liberation. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.